In a time of gun violence is at the top of minds, many people's minds. Many of us are searching for hard-to-find solutions. America is dealing with a gun violence epidemic, and there is no easy fix. One local official is standing up and trying to address one aspect of gun violence, but as 10 News reporter Phil Buck found out, he's getting pushback from the gun rights crowd.
I remember that it was just seconds, if that he shot, the first shot that went through my hand. And I figured that if I could, I guess take the gun away from him. But I wasn't successful because the second shot went into my head. And when the second shot went into my head, I couldn't hear, but I could only see. My son panicked and ran to the front door. So his father caught up with him and shot him. My daughter is apparently screaming, but she ran up the sidewalk and I see him running after her. When she makes it down maybe 2 townhouses up, and he shoots her. And he backs up. And puts the gun in his mouth and shoots himself.
This is a story that repeats itself all the time. Each one of these bullets represents a person killed in the more than 150 mass shootings in the U.S. between 2009 and 2016. More than half of those involved family or domestic violence. And this pile right here, these 212 bullets, each of these represents a child killed in one of those shootings.
As state attorney, I refuse to stand by.
In December, Hillsborough County State Attorney Andrew Warren rolled out a plan to take guns away from domestic abusers.
Well, a woman is killed in America every day in an act of domestic violence. More than half of those crimes are committed using a gun. This was a way, frankly, to potentially save lives.
But technically, I mean, these laws are already on the books. You're not proposing any new laws, right?
This is about the aggressive enforcement of existing laws to take guns and keep guns out of the hands of domestic abusers who have forfeited the right to own them.
But Warren plans to go beyond just taking guns from people convicted of domestic abuse, potentially taking guns away from some people who have simply been charged.
He's going to ask that judges deny people who have been accused of a crime but not convicted of a crime their fundamental right to keep and bear arms, and there's just no constitutional basis for doing so.
Making the debate even more heated is the connection between domestic violence and mass shootings, brought to light after a gunman with a history of abuse shot and killed 26 people at a church in Sutherland Springs, Texas last year.
There are many people who do engage in domestic violence. They never go on to become mass killers. But because it's prominent in a number of cases that we've seen over time, it really does need to be considered as perhaps one of the warning behaviors.
Sutherland Springs was not a failure of gun control or a failure of gun rights. Sutherland Springs was a failure of the government, the United States Air Force, to do its job and to follow the law. If the United States Air Force had done its job and reported that shooter to the National Criminal Check System, he would not have been able to legally obtain that firearm.
Ultimately, Warren knows there are lots of guns out there, and he's focused on taking them away from some of the most dangerous people. But those concerned about protecting constitutional rights will be watching him closely.
Now, just to add a little perspective here, I started working on this story weeks ago, long before this week's school shooting in Parkland. But we're already learning some details about the shooter that may point toward a history of domestic violence for him as well. One student told the New York Times that the shooter was abusive toward his ex-girlfriend and was expelled from school after getting in a fight with her new boyfriend. And documents show law enforcement officers responded to his house on 39 occasions since 2010. And some of those calls were for domestic disturbances.